Don't forget to hit subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. From the day I married Robert 5 years ago, I knew his family wasn't going to make life simple. With his father gone since he was a child, Robert had been the center of a tight little world made up of his mother, Dolores, and his older sister, Brittany. To them, Robert was everything, the golden son who could do no wrong. And me, I was the unwanted outsider who dared to intrude on their circle. At first, I made every effort to close the gap. I pitched in at family dinners, hosted brunches, mailed thoughtful birthday cards, and even smiled through Brittany's snide remarks about my lazy, store-bought mashed potatoes. But no matter how hard I tried, I was never truly accepted. Eventually, I gave up trying. I learned to smile, nod, and simply endure the occasional holiday get-togethers. Robert, of course, never saw it. Amber, they do like you, he'd insist. They just show it differently. Sure. Dolores showed affection by criticizing my wardrobe, while Brittany's way was to accuse me of being overly sensitive. But it wasn't until a few months ago that everything started to change. Robert had dinner with Brittany and some of her friends, nothing unusual. But when he came home that night, he was unusually giddy and clearly drunk. He stumbled through the door with a goofy grin and slurred, "Best night ever." I raised a brow. "Since when do you get wasted at dinner with your sister?" He just shrugged. "Had fun, loosened up. You wouldn't understand." When I asked who else had been there, he brushed it off. "Nobody, just people you don't know." After that, he started coming home later and later. I tried to stay patient, but every time I asked, his irritation grew. One night, when he crept in past midnight, I asked, "Where were you?" "Out," he muttered, dropping his keys. "You said a quick drink. That was 6 hours ago." He snapped. "Jesus. Amber, stop acting like a prison guard. I'm allowed to live my life." That shut me up for the moment, but the knot in my stomach only grew tighter. A few weeks later, Dolores invited us to dinner. I almost said no. The last time, Brittany had treated my casserole like it was contaminated. But Dolores insisted, "Amber, dear, I really want you there this time." I should have known better. As soon as we arrived, Dolores embraced Robert warmly, carried his things inside, then turned to me with a polite half-smile and nodded toward the guest room. I hauled in my own bags, and when I came back, Brittany was already sprawled on the couch with wine in hand. "You know," she said smoothly, "I'd love to finally try Amber's cooking. Mom does all the work. Isn't it time the daughter-in-law pulled her weight?" Dolores and Robert chimed in like cheerful judges on a cooking show. Dolores handed me a shopping list longer than a CVS receipt. "We're out of everything. Could you grab these and start dinner?" Vegetables, spices, meat, rice, sauces. It was enough to feed an army. "This is a lot. Can someone come with me?" I asked. Brittany sighed, patting her stomach. "I'm starving. Don't make us wait longer." Robert didn't even look up from his phone. "She's right. Just get it done, Amber. Please don't make a scene." Then he literally stood up and ushered me toward the door like a misbehaving child. It was already getting dark. Their town was semi-rural and the store was far, but I went anyway. A kind store clerk lent me a cart to manage the groceries. By the time I came back, sweating and tired, Brittany smirked. "Made a stranger haul your bags? Wow, lazy much." I bit my tongue. I cooked. It wasn't perfect, but it was decent. Still, they shredded it apart like Yelp critics on a bad day. Too salty. Dry chicken. "Amber, do you even know how to cook?" I barely touched my plate, too busy forcing back tears. I stayed silent until we got home. A few days later, as I folded laundry, Robert casually announced, "So, we're going to Blue Springs Spa this weekend. Me, Mom, and Brittany." I paused. "Am I invited?" He blinked, almost surprised. "Well, it's more of a family thing. Besides, you don't really get along with them, right?" I stared flatly. Then he added, "But hey, we do need a favor. The spa's remote, and renting a car big enough is expensive. Could we maybe borrow your dad's SUV?" I froze. "Absolutely not." "Amber, come on," he said with a forced laugh. "It's just a car. We're not stealing it. Don't be dramatic. You're asking me to hand over the one thing my dad treasures most for a trip I wasn't even invited to?" Robert muttered under his breath and stormed off. Later that night, I overheard him whispering to Dolores on the patio. She's being difficult. Maybe you should call her. You know how she gets when you talk to her. Sure enough, the next morning, my phone rang. Dolores. Her voice dripped sweetness. Amber, dear, I know you're upset, but Robert mentioned your father's car is very spacious. It would mean so much if you could help us out. Just this once. I didn't answer. Not yes, not no, I just hung up. A few hours later, Robert strolled into the kitchen, grinning smugly. He held out his hand. So where are the keys? I never agreed, I snapped. You didn't say no either, he shrugged. And you heard Mom. She already booked the spa. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. My silence had somehow been twisted into permission. In the end, I opened the drawer and handed him the keys. My hand shook. My stomach churned. But I gave them up anyway. And then they left. Thursday morning came, and I stayed in a house that had never felt so frigid. The weekend dragged on in silence. I busied myself, scrubbing the kitchen, running laundry, trying to watch TV. But every sound in that hollow house echoed like a reminder. By Sunday night, they finally pulled back into the driveway, laughing and chatting as if nothing had happened. Robert parked the SUV, tossed me the keys without saying a word, and went straight inside to nap. The next morning, I drove the SUV back myself. After parking, I climbed the porch steps and knocked. Back already, my dad greeted me with a warm smile. You didn't have to rush. How was the spa? I froze. I didn't go, I whispered. I stayed home. Apparently, I'm just the wife, not family. His smile fell. What? I repeated it. His eyes narrowed. So they took your car, drove off to a luxury resort, and left you behind? I nodded. He turned without another word, heading into the garage. My heart pounded as I followed. He came out holding a small black device. What's that? I asked. The dash cam, he replied calmly. Interior and everything. I always keep it running. And in that instant, I knew he was about to uncover exactly what happened on that trip. Inside the kitchen, he slid the memory card into his laptop, angled the screen toward me, and pressed play. The quiet hum of the hard drive filled the room, like even it was holding its breath. The footage began. Car doors slamming, seat belts clicking, laughter filling the SUV. Robert at the wheel. Dolores and Brittany bickering in the back. And then a fourth figure. A woman with dark hair and mirrored sunglasses slid into the passenger seat like she'd done it before. She leaned across Robert, brushing his arm as she buckled in, whispering something in his ear. Dolores's voice rang clear. She's not coming, right? Robert chuckled. Of course not, Amber. She has no clue. Brittany's high, cutting laugh followed. She's like a houseplant. Doesn't move, doesn't complain. The strange woman giggled. I was worried she'd tag along. But you handled it. My stomach nodded. Who is that? I asked, my voice sounding foreign to me. My dad didn't answer. His jaw clenched as he dragged the slider forward. Hours of footage rolled by. Idle chatter, snack breaks at gas stations, my name tossed around like a running joke. Dolores mocking my voice. Brittany laughing until tears rolled down her cheeks. The woman asking about my job, like I was just another punchline in their script. Then, the lodge parking lot at night. Robert and the woman alone, climbing back into the SUV, whispering, laughing, touching. His lips on her neck, then her mouth, his hand sliding up her thigh, forgetting completely that the cameras were watching. I covered my mouth, trembling. She's his mistress, my dad said flatly. He brought her on that trip. In your car, while you sat at home. My body shook. What do we do? He shut the laptop. We take this to them. Let's see how funny their little game is when the joke's on them. Robert opened the door in sweatpants, hair messy, still groggy. His face froze the second he saw my dad holding the laptop case. Oh, what's going on? He stammered. Let's sit, my dad said, his voice calm too calm. The kind of calm that made Robert instinctively back away. We stepped inside. The air reeked of old takeout and perfume that wasn't mine. I stayed by the door, arms folded. My dad set the laptop on the coffee table, opened it, and hit play. You're going to watch this, he said. Every second. Robert's throat bobbed as the footage played. Him, Dolores, Brittany, the mystery woman, the laughter, the words, the smirk, the kiss, his hand on her knee. He stared at the screen like a man watching his own funeral. Explain, my dad demanded, low and steady. Robert swallowed. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? Silence. Who is she? More silence. Answer me, my dad snapped. Robert's eyes darted to me, searching for mercy. I stared back, stone cold. My stomach was ice. Call your mother. Call your sister. Now. Robert froze. Now, my dad warned, or I walk out with this laptop. Robert fumbled with his phone, mumbling into the receiver. Why you need to come over? Right now. 30 minutes later, Dolores and Brittany walked in. They froze at the sight of my dad waiting at the table. Dolores smoothed her hair nervously. Brittany clutched her purse like a shield. What's going on? Brittany asked, her voice thin. Sit, my dad ordered, gesturing to the couch. They sat stiffly, like schoolgirls called to the principal's office. He pressed play again. Their own voices filled the room. The laughter, the mocking, the cruel words. Dolores's nervous chuckle died, instantly. Brittany's fingers twitched at her necklace. Dolores whispered, "Oh my God." This wasn't pointless. In fact, as my father put it, it's long overdue. They sat there, forced to watch themselves, mocking me, admiring the mistress, calling me weak. Then Robert leaned in and kissed her, every smug grin, every cruel comment captured. When the recording ended, my dad shut the laptop with a snap that echoed like a judge's gavel. The silence that followed was heavy. Even the hum of the refrigerator sounded loud. You've treated my daughter like a servant, my father said, his voice low but cutting. You deceived her, humiliated her, and even used my home to betray her. And you thought you'd never be exposed. Dolores lowered her head. We didn't mean. Don't you dare, he cut in sharply. Brittany stuttered. We thought if she didn't know, she'd still be happy. My dad slammed his hand on the table, making them all flinch. Enough. You will apologize to her, and you will mean it. Robert opened his mouth, but shut it again. Dolores fidgeted with her hands. Brittany whispered, please. My father stepped forward. If you try one more excuse, this footage goes public. Your friends, your church, your jobs. Everyone will see it. His words hung like a blade above them. Robert's face drained of color. Dolores covered her mouth. Brittany's eyes darted between me and my dad. One chance, he warned. Do it now. I watched them squirm. The same people who once sneered at me over dinner now looked pale and small in their own home. My dad's eyes locked on Robert. One chance, he repeated. Or I press upload. The air was still, his words ringing like a tolling bell. Robert froze. Dolores gripped the couch arm. Brittany stared at the carpet as if trying to vanish. Finally, Robert sank to his knees, not with grace, but clumsy, awkward, almost performative. I'm sorry, he muttered. I messed up. Please, I was stupid. You didn't think I mattered enough to notice, I said coldly. Dolores followed, lowering herself with the false dignity of a dethroned queen. Amber, sweetheart, she began softly. We were wrong. It was a lapse in judgment. You mean 3 entire days of judgment, I shot back. Caught on video. Brittany was last, her voice trembling. We didn't want to hurt you. We thought if you didn't know, you'd stay happy. You thought ignorance was kindness, my father snapped. What you gave her was betrayal. All 3 of them knelt there, awkward and pitiful. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply said, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. That night, I went back to my father's house. He didn't say much, just reheated soup and left me alone. I sat at the table long after it grew cold, hearing their voices replay from the video. Amber's like a houseplant. Doesn't move, doesn't complain. But I had moved. I had walked away. Within a week, I filed for divorce. My attorney, Donna, sharp-eyed and composed, watched the footage without flinching. When it ended, she said flatly, we'll take down both of them. Him and the mistress. You're entitled to damages, not just a divorce. I don't even know who she is, I admitted. Donna gave a small smile. We'll find out. And we did. Her name was Maya, Robert's co-worker. Unmarried, notorious for flirting with married men in the office. She was served within 10 days. Robert panicked. He called, leaving long, rambling voicemails. Amber, I'm sorry. I was stupid. Please don't do this. Then came anger. You're ruining my life over one mistake. You think you're perfect? Then desperation. I don't have the money. You can't take what I don't have. Please call me. I never did. He turned to his mother and sister, but Dolores ignored his calls and Brittany blocked him. Once they realized Maya's presence in that car, her laugh, her kiss, made her legally liable too, their sympathy evaporated. Dolores finally told him, "You made your bed. Now lie in it." Within a month, Robert was living in a friend's garage, scraping by with warehouse shifts. He couldn't afford rent, let alone lawyers. His reputation crumbled. Whispers of the footage spread quietly. Never posted, but enough. Even Maya vanished once the lawsuit hit. Dolores and Brittany, disgraced at church and in the neighborhood, abandoned their two-story home for a cramped apartment across town. Dolores told people it was temporary. That was 3 months ago. Word is they live in silence now. Curtains shut, no parties, no smug dinners. As for me, I healed. My father helped me stand again. I took a remote bookkeeping job and joined a ceramics class on Tuesdays. My hands were clumsy at first, the clay lopsided. But shaping something from nothing helped me reclaim myself. One afternoon, I got a message from Colin, an old friend of Robert's from basketball. We hadn't spoken since the wedding. His note read, "Saw your name in court records. Just wanted to say you deserved better. Coffee sometime?" At first I ignored it. Then, the next day I replied. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch into weekends. Weekends into something steadier. Colin never pushed, never asked for more than I could give. Just offered warmth and quiet strength I never realized I needed. One Sunday morning, we sat in the park, spring in the air, damp earth, jasmine blooming. He handed me a small box. Inside, a simple silver pendant, one word engraved. Still. "I wanted to give you something that means what you are," he said. Still here. Still standing. I didn't cry. I smiled. People sometimes ask if I ever saw Robert again. I did. Once. He was leaving a discount grocery with a backpack and 2 plastic bags. Our eyes met. He flinched, looked down, and kept walking. I did the same. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was free. There comes a moment after everything shatters when you realize you survived. You were the one they tried to belittle, to silence, to break. But you walked away. You stood tall. You let the truth explode, and then you rebuilt.